Welcome, everyone. You have made it to Friday. First of all, yay. Second, it is February 27th, almost the end of the month. How are we entering into March? You have joined the Budget and Finance Committee. It's the first one for me, first one for Angela, first one for Kelly, right? So,
Yes.
Eileen, thank you for keeping us keeping us going what we're doing. So, call to order. We are all present and accounted for, which also counts for roll call. Item number three. So Karen, I did have a question. Since when we're approving minutes when we weren't there,
It's
like,
okay.
thank you. That's what I needed to know. We're looking for approval of the minutes from the Budget and Finance Committee from October 24th, 2025. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion from Eileen, a second from Kelly. Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those. Now, Karen, I don't vote again, right? Remember, I don't vote, right?
You are a member of the committee, so you may vote.
Learning something new every day. Thank you so much. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Now to the meat of our meeting, monthly financial update. Troy.
Okay, thank you. I didn't look at the agenda, so I thought I was going after the other item. So, yes, my item shouldn't take more than 25, 30 minutes, depending on questions. So, all right, I'll share my screen. Oh, darn, I gave it away. Okay, should be able to see presentation mode. Excellent. All right. Well, welcome everybody. As the mayor noted, we have some new people, some changes, and that's how I wanted to start out to say, first of all, welcome to the Budget and Finance Committee and to the legions of people who are watching this online live or will watch later on YouTube. I just wanted to point out that the Budget and Finance Committee is made up of the mayor, who chairs the committee, and then the chair of each standing city council committee. Uh, yes, each committee. So, welcome all, welcome new faces. I also wanted to just have some notes right up front to let you know as we go through some numbers here. Today's presentation will be kind of a wrap up of 2025, and the committee. As you approve the minutes from October, I'll just note that we didn't have a meeting in November because of Thanksgiving holiday, and then we had a quarterly update to council on December 2nd, and then again no Budget and Finance Committee because of the holiday, and then in January we're still figuring out the committee assignments and stuff. So it's been a little while since we've had one of these. So glad to be getting back in the groove. So 2025 is not officially closed yet. There are still some revenues coming in. There's still some expenses going out. We talk frequently in these meetings about the timing of our revenues coming in. You know, there's often a delay between the time somebody spends money at a retail store and then the business remits that to revenue, and Department of Revenue does their processes and sends it to us. We're usually a month to 2 months behind on most of our revenues, at least. So that's no different on the expense side. Some vendors send us a bill really quick when they provide services or items, and some take a month or two to send us a bill. And so those are still being paid, and we get those in the right year. In addition to that, I think you're all aware we've had some staffing challenges in finance in 2025. And so with those shortages, we've been working really hard and working lots of extra hours to keep up on things, but we've had to prioritize which things get done and which are more important. Some things have taken a little bit of a backseat, and we'll talk about a couple of those things. Well, some of those things are listed below. Things like year-end accruals, some additional revenue coming in, which I will talk a little bit more later. Transfers, cost allocations, things like that are still to do. So. Also, questions are encouraged and very much appreciated. Sometimes I will often use, if I get questions or suggestions from this committee, I will use that information to try to make the quarterly presentations to council the best that I can make them. Feedback is a gift. I really believe that. So please provide it when you have it. I want to know, what are your preferences? What are your learning styles? What kind of things do you want to learn? What do you want me to talk about? All that kind of stuff, because my goal is really to have these meetings be as useful to you as they can be. That's the whole point. So, and then a little bit on some next steps. You're going to see me a lot over the next month. Well, I'll be at the council retreat on March 7th with a presentation. It'll have a little bit of the same stuff, but I'm purposefully going to leave some stuff out of this to put there. And plus, there's not enough time today to tell you everything I want to tell you anyway. We also have a revenue forecast coming on March 24th at your city council work session, and then a budget and finance committee meeting next month. So you will be seeing me a lot. So with that, we'll jump into some numbers, and we'll start with sales tax because that's the one we've been watching the closest. So for now, we now have the full year. This could change a little bit, but it won't be significant when we do the year-end accruals. But overall, $212,000 more collected in 2025 than in 2024. It's a 2.1% increase, which compared to some of our neighbors isn't bad, but it's certainly no record breaker either. If we look at that by quarter, we'll notice we had, because it's on a month-to-month basis, it's up, it's down, it's kind of all over the place. It's a lot of volatility, especially this last year. But quarterly kind of just smooths that out a little bit, cuts down the noise. And you can see in quarter two, is our only negative quarter of 2025. And what happened in the second quarter of 2025? Tariffs, consumer confidence, all that kind of stuff. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, public safety sales tax. It's still sales tax, but it was budgeted different. This one's a little unique because it's newer, meant for public safety purposes. We had a partial year in 2024. We've now got a full year in the books for 2025. So as we go through 2026 and update you on this, we'll have more comparable data, more meaningful data to show you. We did have the budget for this was $940,000 for 2025. That's what the county had estimated we would get. So we did end up quite a bit better than that, which was nice. And as a reminder too, because we haven't talked about it for a long time, this is being accounted for in a separate fund called a special revenue fund. So all the money goes into that fund and only gets spent for that specific purpose. Yes.
Right.
Amen.
So I have my budget notebook, which by the way, committee members, Troy signed for me. So if you want to get yours signed, could you, I know. Could you, as we move forward, like when we talk about help us reference where it is in the budget book? I mean, you don't have to do
Sure.
that now, but so we can follow along and make notes.
Okay. Yeah, I could totally do that. I can just add page numbers to the slides if that's how you want it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me off the hook now. I have two budget books because I keep one at home and one at work because I always want to have one close by. If there's an extra, maybe I'll put one in the car. Just kidding. But anyway, yes, I could definitely make references to that. That would be fun. Okay, let's go to B&O tax. B&O had a pretty good year, up 3.5% over 2024. That's $109,000. And I should have said, well, these are all comparisons between 25 and 24. In a moment, we'll look at a budget to actual comparison because it's different comparing one year to the other versus what did we budget versus what we got. So it's coming up shortly. Lodging tax had a phenomenal year. The dollar amount, I say only $47,000, and this is just the tourism part. It's not a humongous revenue stream for us, but it is an important one. And it was a 26.8% increase over the prior year, which was amazing. And that's because we have a couple hotels that have been offline for a while that are now back in business. So good news for Tumwater.
Troy, I have a question for you. So
Yes.
I also see we have other hotels that are going up. So we can assume that this is going to increase. So as we have hotels opening, we're going to see increases in this, right?
I would assume yes. Um, I mean, it's always possible that one hotel might take business away from another one,
Mm-hmm.
and there could be no increase. But I would hope before someone invests millions and millions of dollars in a new hotel that they've done their due diligence and they know there's the market for it and they're
Mm-hmm.
expecting, a good amount of revenue to
Okay.
support them.
So
So,
Troy, I heard too on the other one that's opening there by Home Depot. It's a different structure. It's like one of those homestay ones or something. Um,
oh,
yeah, so I don't know if we get to collect, but that might be a Kelly. I don't know if she's going to dive into that one or not, but I'd heard, yeah, so I don't know if we get LTAC from that
yeah,
one.
we'll
Yeah,
look into that because you're
yeah,
right. If for an extent, I think
yeah,
this is from memory, so
yeah,
don't quote me on this, but I
yeah,
think for an extended stay, something that's like 30 days,
yeah.
we don't get lodging tax for that.
And I
So
think I heard that from one of our hoteliers when we were going through this before, because he knows anyway, we were trying to get that hotelier online as, join our board. And I think Seth Paul, who does, is one of our LTAC members, was saying something about that. I'm like, oh, yay, we have a new hotel, but oh, we don't get anything from it. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
so yeah,
thanks for bringing that up. I'll definitely we'll
yeah,
definitely find out about that and we'll
yeah,
figure
yeah.
that
We got until
into future
September. Yeah, when we do the, yeah,
when we're doing the budget. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my question, Eileen. Is it we don't get any or we just don't get any that's above the 30 days?
That's a good question. That's what I mean. And he just threw it
Okay.
out there that it was like,
Got it.
oh, blah. So I didn't, yeah, I don't know enough about those kind. And
And
same thing
then
like with Airbnbs that, there's this thing out there that people like, we don't collect LTAC or we don't get LTAC funds or they don't pay for a while, so because the VCBs had an issue with that, um, like VRBO, and how do we collect LTAC funds from VRBOs? Because it was those kinds of units don't put the hoteliers were at a disadvantage, that type of thing, as far as having that we collect fees, that we get those kind of LTAC funds from VRBOs and Airbnbs. So to pay attention to that as well. So throwing that out there. So
Good
it's
catch,
another
Eileen.
thing to look at. So
okay. All right. Sounds good. We will definitely keep that in mind as we work on our forecast for the next biennium. All right. So this is the revenues looking at the budget on the budget to actual basis. So we've got oh, excuse me, someone just knocked on the door and now my dog is barking. Hang on for one moment. I'm so sorry about that.
Bear wants to have,
Okay.
bring your dogs to work day. So this is a
I
preview
know.
of
We
that.
don't apologize for
Yeah.
life, Troy.
Okay, thank you for that. All right. Uh, so budget to actual basis. So we've got property tax came in a little lower than expected. We do probably still have a little bit more of that coming in, but I'm gonna look into that more and bring you some more information. Sales tax on the budget to actual. Oh, yes, council member.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
The property tax part, because we just got our home evaluation from Thurston County Assessor's Office. And for the first time in a while, our property value went down. So our tax is going down.
Yeah, and I suspect a lot of this it very well could be that, and it could be one thing I noticed when I was preparing the property tax for in the fall for approval for 26 is that a lot of people, or it seems like I don't have detail, but there was a large number where people can uh, protest is the word coming to mind. I don't think that's the right word, but they can challenge the valuation, and the county will review that, and they have a board that does that. And if they appeal, that's the word, they can appeal their valuation. And so if they win that appeal, their property tax, their value is reduced, and their property tax is reduced. And so I think that's a chunk of it too. So as I learn more about that, I'll bring that back.
I mean, I can ask
Um,
my husband to protest and say that our house is worth more, but I don't think that he will.
I won't be doing that with my property either. I'll take the savings if I can get them. Okay, sales tax budget to actual, as we've been talking about, is down about 6.5%. And I'm going to bring some more information about that to you next week at the council retreat. B&O, as it was up year over year, it was also up budget to actual about 4.5%. Utility tax, if you've got a really good memory for numbers and you remember this from December, the utility tax was behind. This is one of the things that finance was behind in. I gotta say also, the utility tax is not just the Tumwater utilities, it's all the utility tax. So it includes energy, garbage, Comcast, all of that stuff. But the allocations were behind. We've caught that up. And so compared to just a short time ago when I spoke to you about that with that little mini budget update, revenue is better than it was at that time. And we're going to hit that again in just a minute. Building permits continued kind of off the charts for the whole year, way higher than we expected. Medic One revenue was down, and I think I mentioned that last time. That was due to, we thought when we got the new Medic unit and we did our estimates for revenue and expenses on that, we did not realize that Medic One would not reimburse us for the time that the medics spent at the fire academy, which was about 6 months worth of wages and benefits.
Troy, I got a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you go back to the previous slide, please?
I can.
Okay. I thought that just me thinking, that most of our revenue came from property taxes, but it appears not. So can you tell me, when it comes to property taxes, when we pay our property tax, what percentage does the city get and what percentage does the county and the state get?
That is, I have that information somewhere. I don't have it in this presentation, but that is something I can bring back to you.
Troy, I've seen a really good graphic in the past where they'll take a dollar and then they'll break out like what percentage goes to all the different entities. It would be great if we could, maybe for the council retreat, if we can pull together a slide that would give folks that breakdown on the property taxes. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And it's from, to give you a rough idea, about 60% of your property tax goes to schools. There's the local school portion, which is somewhere around 30%, and then there's the state school portion, which is about another 30%. And then the county, I think, gets around 11 or 12. The city gets, I think, around 3%, but I'll get you the exact numbers and bring that back.
Right. That would be good for our residents to know.
Yeah.
Also, Angela, if you go to page 29 of your budget book, it does have how the revenues, you get a picture of property taxes, sales tax, utility tax, B&O tax, other taxes that could temper your requests while Troy does a new graphic with penguins and a dollar bill.
Okay. Thank you.
Troy, it would be good to break it out for both sales tax and property tax, since those are two major drivers too. And I know each one of them have varying allocations.
Yeah. Good.
Thanks.
Yes, I'll definitely do that. You bet. And I'm so excited that the budget books are getting used so much already. This is awesome. Okay. Let's see. That's all I wanted on that slide. This slide's kind of grants, transfers. We talked about public safety sales tax being over what we expected. Let's see. Miscellaneous revenue. So I just want to point out a couple things. Miscellaneous revenue, when I'm talking about our general fund revenue, that we have about, I don't know, 100 lines or so of various general fund revenue sources. Some of those are big, some of them are extremely small. And so instead of, showing you 100 line items of dollars and cents, I group these up. I pull out the big ones, the ones I think you'll find most valuable or important, and then everything else I toss into a miscellaneous category. And so that way we've got a couple slides and not 20 slides that you don't want to see. So that's what the miscellaneous is. I expect this miscellaneous to come up before we're done closing out 2025 because we haven't allocated our interest earnings yet. And that's going to be a chunk. You notice down here at the bottom, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but so the budget revenue for 2025 was $48.9 million. Today, we're sitting at 47.6, and put a pin in that for one moment. We're going to come back to that. For a moment, we're going to look at expenditures. And so general government, that's another one of those ones where I group things together. So, we've got the big spenders like police, fire, public works, parks and rec. Those are kind of our biggest departments within the general fund. And then you've got a bunch of the back office support like finance and legal and HR and executive and legislative that are much smaller dollars. And so again, instead of having many, many lines of data, I pare that down. I group those smaller ones together. But as you look through these, you've got, budget here and actual, and you can see that almost every department is very underspent on the expenditure side of things. With the exception of fire, they're just about $100,000 over their budget. But we budget at the fund level, and so all of the other departments within the general fund are significantly under. And so our expenditure budget was 52.3 million for the entire general fund. We only spent 46.2. So a huge savings on the expenditure side of things. And we're going to pick these both up again for a minute. We're just highlighting here the revenue shortfall as it stands today without our interest allocation. And by the way, I think that interest is going to be close to $1 million, which would put us almost even for revenue if that comes out the way I think it's going to. But for today, as what we know for sure, 1.3 million under on revenue, 6 million under on expenses. Which is huge and makes me really happy. So to summarize this, we've got these budget savings on the expenditure side of $6 million. We have to account for the revenue shortfall of 1.3 million, but that gives us a net savings of $4.7 million. And as we know, in the budget for the entire biennium, we had planned on spending down $5.5 million of our savings. If we split that in half between the years, that's just about 2.8 million each year, but we've got budget savings of 4.7 million. So that means we haven't dipped into those savings or those reserves. And so we have not spent down any of our fund balance, which is fantastic news going into 2026. I'm super happy about that. I'm hoping we can keep that going, and we'll be talking about that a whole bunch more as we go along. And I want to pause there for a second with any questions. And this is the part I kind of tried to explain at the last meeting, and I didn't do a very good job. So I just wanted to check in real quick to make sure we're all tracking. And I can't see all of you, unfortunately. So let me know if there's any questions. Councilmember Swarthout, I saw your mic.
Yeah, I
unmute.
just didn't want to blurt out, but I'm just like, wow, because this is really awesome. Because I know you were trying to explain this, but to see it out like this, to see the numbers, this is really, I like to see it like this, and it is impactful. And so I appreciate too. And then what our city administrator is talking about too is just like, okay, we're just gonna kind of take a look at things right now and just see where we are. So like moving forward, I really appreciate this. So yes, a lot.
Yeah, this is an example of where, the way I explained it last time made sense to me, but it didn't make sense to everybody. So I used that feedback to go back and try to present it in a different way. And so this is exactly why I need your questions and concerns and comments, because it helps me.
Yeah, the parentheses, because I have a hard time because I took county pass fail. So I barely passed. So the parentheses part was kind of hard to understand. So it's just to see the actual, actual numbers. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
Troy, I got a question. So this should be celebrated, right?
Yes.
So I want to know, what is the impact? What would happen if it was the opposite way around? What's the impact?
If it was the opposite way around, we would have less money in the bank. moving forward. That would put us as we start the budget for the 2027-2028 biennium, that would affect the choices that we're able to make. Having more money available to us, just gives us more options and gives us a bigger safety net. If the economy turns around and goes sour on us, we've got a good safety net, and we're not dipping into that right now.
But I just remember that chart that was saying that, okay, in several years, we're going to have to think about cuts. So how are we looking?
You're talking about the fiscal cliff?
Yes.
Yeah.
How does this impact the fiscal cliff?
So this takes the fiscal cliff and kicks it out a couple years.
Okay. So can you highlight that so we can see the why this is great news? Am I making sense?
Angela,
Yes.
I dig that. And I also want to try to be cognizant of the optics of that with the past administration and how that budget was formed and how some of us were not supportive of the budget, but we voted for this budget by taking end fund balance to pay for salaries, which I did not want to do. And so this prevents that. So I want us to celebrate, also be careful of the optics, because we all voted for this budget voicing our concerns. And this has helped us avoid that, because I do not want to pay for salaries from an end fund balance. That is not sustainable. So it's really, I feel like we're course correcting. I feel like we're course correcting.
Yes.
Right? So how do we just zhuzh something, right? But we all voted for this budget, knowing that it was right. So let's be mindful of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit to just to build on what the mayor was saying. We need to remember that this is a biennial budget, so this is one half of a 2-year budget. As department directors manage it, they manage it as a 2-year budget. So there may have been things that they built into this, looking at their budget from a 2-year perspective, that they knew was going to be coming in 2026. So it's not as simple as, it matches one year to the other. So an example of that is we hired a lot of staff this year, and the positions were vacant at the start of the year. So for every month that we had vacant positions, that money builds as savings, and that's going to help our year-end cash flow. But as we then fill all those positions, then moving forward, then we become fully staffed out. And that's where that 10-year forecast that Troy's working on for the work session, and on March 24th, when he does that, he'll project out, if we're fully staffed up, this is what you'll be able to see this biennium and the next biennium and the biennium after that, and see what the impact of being fully staffed up are. So I think the caution that the council had when we were proposing the 2 positions a few weeks ago was really, really good. That's the sort of caution that we need in terms of checks and balances. I think our current status that Troy's presenting gives us a little bit of confidence that we're doing actually better than we thought we were. But I think until we see that 10-year projection at the new levels and see how, once we're fully staffed up, what that means long term, it's hard to get super comfortable based on what everyone else is doing. And also just the fact that we had to use fund balance to balance the budget, use the reserves to have a balanced budget. As the mayor said, that's sustainable. And we need to, with the next biennium, we have to get away from that practice. We need to adopt a budget that lives within the means that we have, so that we can maintain the healthy reserve that we've added to in 2025.
Well, this is great points, Angela. Great questions. Great. And then Kelly, you had, and thank you, Paul. You had your hand up, you had your hand down.
Yeah. I heard Troy say that it kicks the fiscal cliff down the road. Like, we're sales tax, I mean, who knows, but it's been flatlining for a very long time. And if my property taxes are going down, someone else's other community members' taxes are also going to go down. So I agree, Angela. Like, I think that this is amazing, and I'm very happy about all that I'm being told, and I'm cautiously optimistic and still feel like that cliff is further down the road, but it's still down the road.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The fiscal cliff is created by that structural deficit of the 1% property tax limit, but expenditures, community needs and expenditures growing faster than 1%. So that's the biggest driver. So, all right. Well, let's move on to the utility funds. I'll go through these a little bit quicker for the sake of time, so we have time to finish everything here. So this is similar to what you've seen before at the quarterly council updates. We're going to go through the utility funds in Gulf. The top portion of this is all revenue and all expense budgeted for the various funds. That includes capital projects. And for the water fund in particular, we had the maintenance and operations center budgeted, plus a start of the big water storage tank. And so there's huge numbers for both revenue and expense here because these are debt financed. And we haven't started those projects yet. And so the bottom part, what I did is I take out the big capital project piece of that to let us look more closely at what are the operations of the utility doing. And so that kind of normalizes the numbers more, gives us, yes, Madam Mayor.
As Troy is going through these, if you want to start in your budget book on page 100 and follow along with him, you're more than welcome. Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. You might even take a little tab or post-it note and mark that page because we'll come back to this every month during our monthly Budget and Finance Committee meetings. Unless you tell me you want something different, and then we won't. Okay, so anyway, we could see revenue for water was quite a bit higher than budgeted, so that was good. Expenses are $3.5 million lower, so that helps the water fund with their savings. Going on to sewer, similar type thing. Sewer revenue is actually significantly higher than we projected. That's due to local construction projects and connection fees and things like that, bringing in a lot of extra money. The expenses on sewer were also higher, but less than the revenue increase. And so sewer is looking good there. Stormwater is a similar thing. This one looks a little wonkier on the bottom because taking out the capital, there was still a grant program in there that I didn't take out. So it makes the revenue budget, it makes it look like our revenue is really short when it's really not. And then expenditures for sewer were just about right on target. And for golf, similar thing. Golf's a little bit different in that bottom section in that it's not just capital projects, but there's also general fund support programmed in for the golf course. But on the revenue side, they budgeted 1.6 million in fees and merchandise sales and things like that for golf, and they came in at 1.7. So really good on the revenue side. And then on the expenditure side, they were also under budget quite a bit. All right, we'll briefly talk about some upsides and risks with the economy. And I'm going to, rather than just have numbers on the screen, I'm going to show you some graphs in just a second. But GDP has been positive the last 3 quarters for an upside on the economy. The unemployment rate's been ticking down the last 3 months, as has inflation. For risks, I've often got geopolitical risks here. This one I put specifically war with Iran because that's in the news. The national debt, of course, is increasing tremendously because Congress decided to give tax cuts to billionaires. Trade wars going on all over the world. And a note here that AI might account for as much as 1.1% of GDP growth right now. And I'll talk about that in a second when I go to the graphs. So here is the unemployment rate, and you can see here it kind of bottomed out in 2023, and it's been creeping up a little bit ever since. You also notice, if your eyes are good enough, the break in that data right there, it's a little tiny one. The next one will show it better. That's from the government shutdown last fall when they didn't collect data for 2 months. Same thing for the consumer price index, which is typically what's used to measure inflation. We've got the break in that blue line there, which is when they didn't collect data. But it is creeping down, but as we all know, it's been very volatile the last several years too. So hopefully it'll keep coming down, but it's possible it could bounce back up too. And then here's the GDP numbers. You probably remember we had a negative GDP number for the first time in several years that happened first quarter 2025. Quarter two and quarter three were very high. Quarter four was about 1.4%. And so to bring back up that AI comment, if artificial intelligence is accounting for 1.1% of the GDP, that and you take that away, that means there's very, very little growth in that fourth quarter number. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward and see how that works out. Also, there's billions and billions of dollars being invested in AI right now. It's definitely real. It's here to stay. But at some point, there's going to be some winners and losers. Some people are going to lose a lot of money. Some are going to make a lot of money. And it could be a bubble that pops at some point. All right. So remember last year on what did they call it? Liberation Day, when tariffs were announced, and my friends on the McDonald Islands were slapped with tariffs quite unfairly. The tariff news made a lot of headlines last year. It seemed to settle down towards the end of the year, and you've probably heard of the recent Supreme Court decision striking down tariffs, and so they're back. Tariffs are back. Of course, the president, as soon as he got the Supreme Court news, instituted more tariffs using a different authority. So this, of course, it affects consumers. It affects prices. There's all kinds of lawsuits going on now. I read earlier there's, I think, 900 companies suing the federal government to get money back. And so, again, what all of this does is just injects a bunch of unknowns and uncertainty into the markets. It affects consumer confidence, which affects how much money people want to spend. And so it's unfortunately kind of a big deal. So we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. And with that, if you have more questions, happy to answer them, and I'll stop sharing for a minute. Oops. So I can see everybody.
Anything else? Eileen, Angela, Kelly? Right, we just keep this conversation going. We check in with each other, and then we share it with all of council, right? We just keep that going. Transparency, accountability. And so we learn to adjust and pivot depending on what's happening. And that's why we have Troy. Does that work for everybody? Thank you, Troy. And then you also have this next item.
I do? Uh-oh, what is it?
That's Troy.
Oh, no.
We need... You mean, oh, yes.
I mean, yes. I'm excited to hear what it is.
Let me read it to you.
Okay.
Determine which day and time works best for future meetings of the Budget and Finance Committee
Oh,
with a new
yes.
mayor and 2 new council members, chairs of the thing. Do we want to check in? This Friday at noon actually works for me with my schedule and my other full-time job. Eileen and Angela and Kelly. Got thumbs up from Angela. Eileen,
I'm flexible. So
Kelly.
For me.
So we just keep it as is, and if something does happen, we just bring it up and we adjust as needed. Staff, does this all work for you for this Friday at noon?
It works for me. I think I see Paul's head nodding yes. Yep.
so it's the last Friday of the month. Is that what you're saying? Or will that be
Is it the
no?
last Friday?
I think it's the fourth Friday of the month,
Fourth Friday? Okay, got it.
which is usually the last, but
Okay,
Crystal clear? Is that crystal
but there
clear?
could be 5, so.
just checking.
They should be on our calendar, right? So if it's the 4th, 1, 2, 3,
I don't know. This wasn't
Yeah,
on my
the 4th.
calendar again.
March
This wasn't
27th.
on my calendar, so I'm just saying. So, but we'll get that figured out. I know.
Angela and Kelly, were these on your calendar? Eileen, this was not on your calendar?
I'm gonna figure it out. So,
No, I need a yes or no. Was it on your calendar?
let's see.
Take a look and follow up, and then I'll just do another reminder that we've confirmed this. Actually, Paul, can
Yes, it
you
is
do a
now.
reminder?
Yeah,
Okay,
it wasn't
okay.
on the baby one. It was on the big one. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, yes, it was
Well-
on my large laptop.
I'll take
Yes.
it. Yes.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay.
Yes, it was on my calendar.
Got it. So now we don't have to change anything. We'll just keep them on our calendar.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else for anything else? Do you want any additional or future items that you have on in your head right now? If not, you could always follow up. I'll never say no to an agenda item. So just so you know. I just request from Troy that we continue to have penguins in every presentation. That's it.
Naturally.
If nothing else, thank you for your time. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Stay out of trouble. Meeting adjourned at 12:40. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.